What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the vlog. My name is Filip Latocha, and today we are going to be talking about my winter running setup. Obviously, better late than never. In this particular case, we were kind of midway through the winter season at the release of this video, but I did have some questions on it, and I wanted to give some thoughts and opinions and see if you guys would find any useful information in this. So before we get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Lots of cool stuff coming up with this first race in over 15 months, and we're going to have a huge series vlog revolving around that and some other fun gifts that we will talk about in a future video after this release. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be awesome. So without further ado, let's get into it. Winter running. So it sucks sometimes. Sometimes it's really fun if you enjoy running through snow and things like that. But here are my general rules with winter running. Rule number one with winter running is, especially with snow, ice, and things like that, don't set high expectations for a well-done performance. If you're running outside, it's probably not going to happen. Chances are you're just going to be in a position where you get some kind of workout done, you're going to battle the elements a little bit, and you're probably just going to have a little bit more fun in navigating through stuff rather than break some kind of PR. It's not impossible. All I'm saying is it's not something that should be first on your bucket list of, oh yeah, I'm going to run a sub 15 mile 5K through snow. It's a stretch. It's going to be very bold of that to happen. Rule number two with winter running is if you start sweating profusely, it's game over. What I mean by that is if your clothes start sweating and it's starting to get exposed to your outer layer, or you're wearing some kind of cotton and that shirt or that sweater begins to sweat and you're feeling cold because you're experiencing, wind, just the cold weather blowing on you or on your sweaty clothes, it's game over. You should probably abort mission. You should stop the run entirely, because that's kind of the first steps into getting really sick and experiencing things like hypothermia and whatnot, because you're not going to be able to warm yourself up over the fact that your clothes are, sweaty and that they're beginning to freeze and that you're just cold. It's going to be impossible to fight that. So those are my two major rules, I think, with winter running. Other than, just be prepared, know your limits, nothing unusual like that. So let me talk about some clothes, and let's go over 3 different brackets of weather for winter running we talk about. So today, for example, in Chicago is very nice. This will be bracket number 1. So it's 35 degrees plus. This is typically what I would wear. It's going to be one of 2 things on my outer layer, which is going to be one, either this heavy polyester race swag sweater that I have. I have 2 of them that are different colors from 2 different races, which is one is this one is this gray one that I have up there. They're pretty much interchangeable, and yeah, it's just it's kind of thick. It's got a few layers, but it is 100% polyester. So the point of that is that it's not going to necessarily absorb sweat, but if it does, its purpose is to bring the sweat to the highest layer possible, and to basically try to evaporate it or get it stuck on the material itself. That's polyester's ultimate purpose. It's not really, sweat resistant, but also what polyester may end up doing is keeping the sweat on your body itself, so it may actually drip through the body itself. But yeah, again, it's not the perfect option for running if you're gonna be afraid of sweating, but it is a very warm option, and I've had very few to no issues with this particular sweater in this instance. I do keep the hoodies on because it does provide this extra layer of protection for your upper back in terms of like layers and clothing and whatnot. I don't care that it bounces around. It doesn't weigh more than it needs to, so it's all good on that front. What else? In terms of tights, whatever kind of running tights you have, as long as they're kind of wind resistant, they should be okay. You can also wear half tights at about this temperature, at least in my opinion. Also, I should probably preface this is my focus with winter running is I don't really mind what happens too much in my legs. I'm mostly concerned about feet temperature, hand temperature, and upper body temperature. Like legs, I don't really have much sensitivity in the cold with them. I don't know if it's just a runner's thing. I don't know. But yeah, the purpose here is like half tights at 35 degrees Fahrenheit is no problem with me. Upper body, I mentioned, yeah, it's going to be this sweater. And then I'll have a t-shirt underneath. And that usually could also be kind of excessive depending on if there's a lot of wind or whatnot, because that's another important factor, is determining wind chill with all this. Because 35 degrees Fahrenheit is really nice if there's no wind, but if there is some kind of wind, you should probably start, factoring that in as well. So for example, today's run was like 35 degrees Fahrenheit. I had the Nike Shield Runner windbreaker up here, which again is a lot thinner, but based on what I knew from my body temperature while I run, I was able to get away with using that and not having a bad time at all. In fact, it was really warm in the Shield Runner, which is what I expected. So I was wearing just a regular running swag t-shirt from a race and the Shield Runner and really thin Nike gloves, these in particular, just for more or less getting back into the adaptive sense of running in slightly warmer temperatures, but nothing that was too thin where I would freeze in 35 degree weather. Anything else we're missing from there? I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I just wear any kind of cap or snapback at that point. It's the hats are breathable enough for like that type of weather where it doesn't bother me. My head won't get cold. It's not a big deal. That's another thing. I also protect the ears. Those are extremities that I definitely don't want getting cold, because that is a good way to get sick if they begin getting cold. Okay, let's talk about bracket number 2. This is between 15 degrees Fahrenheit and 25 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is where things start getting a little bit colder. We're below freezing in the Fahrenheit temperatures. Now it's a good time to consider some of these things. So again, heavy base, or not base layer, heavy outer sweater. Again, 100% polyester is kind of the play for sure. But now we add another layer into the picture. This one here is this Nike Pro fleece that I have. The outside is like really rigid. The inside is again, I think it's like polyester, maybe it's like a wool of some sort. But the idea here is, again, protecting the upper body, mostly the, the pecs, the abdominal extremities, the arms as well. Gloves we'll worry about a little bit later. But yeah, this fleece has definitely helped out a lot. And I usually try to tuck it into the tights at that point, just so the wind doesn't travel up your upper body setup. And yeah, this I've had for over 4 or 5 years. Has never let me down in cold temperatures. Love using this if I need to. But it is, again, polyester, so the sweat does sometimes not absorb into this, but can travel down the skin, or can basically go through to the next most upward layer that your body has basically prepped. So yeah, basically the setup for this is, again, polyester outer, this fleece polyester setup as the mid layer, and then I do have a shirt underneath as well. And that's usually good enough to handle the upper body layering at this front. And in terms of gloves, we got to play it by ear. Again, I do use these Nike gloves, but I have a second pair that's a little bit bigger, and I would sometimes put it over those gloves if it need to be. But you got to play it carefully, so one, your hands don't start sweating, because in my case, my palms can sometimes sweat while I'm running, and that's going to cause issues when you start having to deal with the wind, and your arms are usually moving and experiencing the most kind of like wind resistance, most contact in that front. So you got to be kind of careful and play it cautiously in that front. So one layer might be just enough, but it could also be too little. Again, it's completely contingent to how you practice it with your gloves. But yeah, protecting hands are like on my important list here for sure. So that's also a good thing. And then we start, instead of using a cap now, we are now incorporating a beanie, which I got again from Race Swag. And I like this beanie for sure, because the idea here is it doesn't really breathe all too well, so it does keep your head and your scalp really warm while you're running during the cold temperatures. And it has just enough leeway on the bottom here where I can like ride the beanie to like my forehead area, and then I use the rest. I will use my Oakley glasses to basically cover the rest. And I like those in tandem with basically this screamer that I use. Again, I was wearing buffs well before they were cool. This one is like maybe a few years old. I do have it from Lutsen Mountains, the ski resort. And basically, yeah, I would basically have this covering my face right about here. I'll have my nose sometimes exposed, but more or less it's covering just the face. And I use it just to basically break down any sort of mustache icicles that might be developing, or any sort of, goatee icicles on that front from breathing and moisture and all that. So this is really good on that section of stuff. And of course, this is where the glasses are good in play. They have a double feature, as you can probably guess. One, they block the sun, and two, they also block from the wind. And that being said, sometimes when you breathe up on glasses, they do fog up. But in the case with these Oakleys, we do push this button down, or this like little lever. And basically what happens is it creates this little breathing hole here in the glasses. And I really like that when they start fogging up, so it does, you know, have some air circulation in them. And yeah, I just basically flex these literally everywhere I go. Like, I don't know, I just love them. It's either these or the Pit Vipers, but these like seem a little more sane. The Pit Vipers, like, you're obviously, you know, you mean business. So that's kind of the idea there with that setup. And this final bracket, which I call it the 10-degree Fahrenheit and below bracket, is pretty universal, because at that point it's really cold and you should probably definitely have some sort of setup like this. So again, this polyester sweater may still be in play, but at this point I'm probably considering some kind of winter jacket if it is really that bad, or I'm definitely paying attention to wind chill factor, and I will have this polyester fleece base, and I will have this sweater, you know, as a dual thing kind of working out, and then I will have a shirt on the bottom, so I will have 3 layers on the upper body. I will definitely have 2 gloves at that point. I will have the screamer. I will have the beanie. Also, we didn't really discuss shoes too much, because that's kind of just like an eye of the beholder thing, but definitely if you have some kind of Nike shoe that's Flyknit, wouldn't really recommend it in this particular case. If you have something like a Peg Turbo Shield, as I do in this particular case, this is the type of temperature where I would strongly consider, for myself, to use a Peg Turbo Shield, because it'll at least keep your foot very warm and definitely waterproof from the elements that may be in your way, whether it's snow, water, ice, you know, you name it. So that's kind of the play there. And then also what might change, depending on wind chill factor, is I start incorporating ski goggles into my run. There was an article that was written about me a few years ago, and I remember saying that like running outside was like the play, and anyone running on a treadmill was a wuss. I don't even remember what I said. But yeah, I basically did mention that I do run in ski goggles, and there have been several times that I have rocked ski goggles on a run, because they are, 1, awesome for blocking the wind, 2, awesome for providing some sun protection when, you know, you're running in the direction of the sun. And yeah, you just can't complain about them whatsoever. Sometimes they'll fog up, but you gotta get the ones that breathe, and you know, it's pretty good. So ski goggles, huge plus when it comes to running in like those sub-zero temperatures. And then yeah, that's kind of the most of what I can think of in terms of my winter setups. Yeah, after some point, you know, if you have to add another layer into the picture, like, go for it. But I can't really think of anything else I would be adding to my setups. After a certain temperature, it just makes more sense to run inside, but you know, that's your call if you have that option. I know a lot of people don't. I know for a while I didn't, but I hate running indoors, because wearing the mask does kind of really put a damper into your breathing rhythm while you're running, and my results have definitely shown that I probably should not be running indoors with a mask if I can avoid it. Running outside maskless is kind of the play, or just at least socially distant, whatever they say. So anyways, that's the end of this video. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if this winter setup makes sense to you, if you use something similar to this, if you have any questions on the winter setup. But yeah, that's all I've got for now, so thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys real soon.